Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me for this acrylic painting tutorial. Today I'm going to be painting a landscape. We're going to be doing kind of a sunset mountain scene with some flowers in the front. I think it's going to be a really fun project. This video is sponsored by Arteza paints, so we're using some different paints today. I'm excited to try their stuff out. I've got my husband, Mark, with me.
Hey there, everybody.
He's man in chat during our show today, so if you have questions while I'm painting, you can ask those and I'll try to answer them. Let's get started. Alrighty, so I'm going to be using I'm not using a canvas today, I'm using their acrylic pad here. It is 11 by 14, but our canvas or our photograph was cropped, so I just went ahead and taped off the borders, and I obviously can't do math because I did it not in a square, but in like, anyhow, it's a long story. My ruler had, never mind. I won't even bother mentioning why.
Math is hard.
Math is hard. So I've taped it off. It's about an 8 by 10, as it turned out, instead of a 10 by 10, which is what I was going for, but that's okay. And I have coated the tape just along the border with a little bit of glazing medium just to kind of seal it up. Hopefully that won't peel off our paint later. We'll find out. I don't know. I think if I kind of go and score it a little bit before I tear the tape off, it should come off cleanly. But when I tested it, the paint was going right up underneath. So as I said, we're using Arteza paints. You can kind of see the conglomerate of paints over here off to the side here. I've got them all listed, but they sent me this large 60 count pack. It's a box full of paints, and they're smaller tubes, so they fit nicely in their little trays. And I used more than half of them. It looks like these are the standby ones that I didn't choose. So I just went ahead and put a bunch of them on my palette. Go ahead and put those out, hun. Show the palette there. It's like a rainbow, beautiful rainbow. I love it. They're kind of a medium body paint. They're a little bit softer than the heavy body acrylics that I use mostly. So it'll be a little bit easier to go on the paper. I think it'll be a good choice for the paper. So I've got all of them listed down in the description. I'm going to go through them really fast. Titanium white, cold gray, Payne's gray, Mars black, Mars brown, raw umber, burnt umber, oxide yellow, burnt sienna, deep yellow, mid yellow, yellow pale, lemon yellow, Mars yellow, Indian yellow, orange red, vermilion red, rose madder, Bordeaux red, rose, magenta light, neon pink, which, wow, that's neon. Where was that color last when we were doing the magenta, that flower the other week? Oops, I got this one in the paint. Pink, just plain old pink, mauve pale, violet, ultramarine blue, phthalo blue, Prussian blue, cerulean blue, sky blue, yellow green, olive green, emerald green, phthalo green, Prussian green. Where is it? Prussian green and deep green. Okay, so those are all of them. I probably am not going to remember exactly what when I'm painting. So I'm going to probably go through. So if you need to know exactly what color I'm using, exactly, you may have to mark up take a screenshot of the palette and write all the colors in, because I don't think I'm gonna try to remember them, but there's a lot of colors there, and they're kind of, some of them are a lot new to me, the names. So I'm going to do the best I can, but we'll see how it goes here. And there's all of them all in one tray. So it just tells you how many there are. If you don't have these, just use what you've got. It doesn't have to be these exact colors, but we're just kind of showing off their products today. So that's why we're using all these different colors. I mean, why not, right? Why mix them? And when you've got them all, that's one of the nice things. I think these kind of sets are nice for beginners because you don't have to mix. You can see how they blend really nicely one into another. So, here where you might have this color and a yellow and mix them together to get all of these colors in between. With this set, you don't have to mix anything. You've got all of those colors, all the in-between colors already pre-mixed, which makes it really nice. So All right, I'm going to draw on the canvas with a watercolor pencils. They sent me some watercolor pencil sets. It was a huge set of 120 colors. I went ahead and made a color chart as I want to do. I haven't done it on the acrylics yet. I kind of tested them a little bit on paper, but I wasn't very organized about it. So I'm going to go back and do it a little bit more organized like this. But this is a really good idea to do when you get some like a watercolor set or any kind of colored pencils or anything like that, is to make yourself a little chart. I've got, this is the box of them. Comes like that, nice little tin. I took them all out. They're not in here, but it also kind of has a little chart here and tells you some information about each color, which is really nice. So it's already kind of did the thing that I did on paper for you right there. So you've got a little chart of what's there, but they sent me a really cool case for them to go into. Might zoom out a little bit, hun, so we can see it. There we go. And it says it holds like 60 pencils, and I've got 120, but it held all of them plus. I mean, like, I've got room for more. So look at all these colors. It's amazing. I had a fun time doing this because they weren't in order in the tin necessarily. So I went through and like put them in rainbow order because I love doing that. So it was really fun. And then I've got slots for even more pencils over here. So I really like this case though. It's kind of nice to just be able to grab them and see what colors you've got on the go. So all of the materials, links to the materials I'm using today are down in the description. There's a discount code down there, Angela Anderson 1, that's good till the end of March only. So if you decide you want to buy some stuff, you can follow those links and check it out. All right, so let's get to drawing here. I'm going to start with the sky blue pencil, and I'm going to go about, let's see, just above the halfway mark. And we'll have that be kind of a horizon. The sky is really the star of the show on this painting, so we're going to let it be really far up there. And there's just kind of a wiggly line here for these mountain ranges, and then there's another line just a little bit below that kind of comes up like that. And then this lower mountain cuts off right about the halfway mark. And oopsie, it doesn't want to draw over the top of that. You can see where the glazing medium was. I thought about doing paint. I probably could have just done white paint, but I wasn't sure if it would match the background white. And so I didn't want to have like a weird white border on there. I figured the glazing medium would be a little bit more clear and easier to deal with. So, all right. So, and actually it's probably a little bit more like that. These mountains kind of, I'm gonna make this a little bit shorter. Nice thing about watercolor pencils is that if you make a mistake, it's real easy to wipe it off. So I'm just gonna go in here and kind of clean that up right there. And if you want to, you can use them as paint though too. You know, like you can use them on paper. I wouldn't use it maybe on this paper. I would probably get a paper that's meant for watercolors. But they work great for what we're doing today as a sketch. And then if you were going to be doing it as a finished design, you can color in and shade with them, and then you just add water and they kind of flow and make really beautiful colors. So that's a different video though. But they work really great for sketching out on canvas. All right, so there we go. We got kind of our mountain here. It goes a little bit higher on this side, maybe bring it up a little bit higher than this mountain here. And right in the middle here is kind of where our sunset's going to be, like right in here. So this kind of continues. So wherever this was right there is going to kind of continue on. And you want this mountain here to be a little bit higher. So I'm going to bring it up even a little higher right there to make sure it's cutting that whole thing off right there.
Okay, we got some questions that have come in.
Sure.
What grade is the paint? So is it like a student grade or is it?
Well, it says it's premium, but it is, some of it's not as light fast. So, but most of it is a good quality light fastness. Let me see if it says on here. I honestly do not know.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. And
but I haven't used it yet. I've like that's the only thing I've done with it. So we'll find out. I think it looked pretty opaque to me on the paper when I was looking at it. That's why I was testing it. I just wanted to kind of see how opaque it was compared to, this was the heavy body acrylic and this was the version of that. And it really did cover just as nicely, I thought, so all of these were it. And this was like quinacridone magenta that I usually use. And so I was trying to kind of match up the color here, but you can see how well and the rose was nicely transparent like the other one was. So I was really pretty pleased with the quality. But I don't know what they rank it, being that it says premium. I'm guessing it seemed pretty good quality to me. So.
And then somebody's asked about the paper. Is it a heavyweight paper?
Yeah, it's pretty thick. I have it taped down, so I'll show you in a minute. But yeah, it's thick, and well, you can see it here. This is it right here. Oh, so okay. It's firm, and it buckled a little bit, but not like you would, like a normal paper would. And one thing I did notice that I don't usually like acrylic pads, just because they can be slick, and this one doesn't seem quite as slick as some of them that I've used before. So I think it's going to take the paint well. All right, so we've got a diagonal line right down here that's kind of crossing right here. And then let me switch to the pink pencil to do some of the sky. So most of the time I don't really sketch the clouds, but I'm going to go ahead and in this case just kind of show you how you can do that with the pencil. And we're just going to do our lines kind of in a diagonal, but then like right up in here, we're going to have some bigger clouds, so you can kind of map those out a little bit. And the ones up here, they kind of angle this way and off, but the just right at the very end, they kind of do this little fisheye thing, so they kind of curve up a little bit.
Good thing there's fish.
Oh,
so then we know what it looks like.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so I'm going to call that good, and then we'll grab my green pencil. Gotta love this. I should have done this part in green, I guess. And then we're going to have this whole thing of flowers right here, and it's going to cut off this whole corner, really. And I'm kind of elongating this, obviously, because I did my proportions a little bit wrong. So we're making up some of this. We're gonna increasing the size of some of this. So
I'm sure the earth doesn't stop right there.
What?
I'm sure the earth doesn't stop right there.
Probably doesn't. Probably doesn't. I think
pretty safe assumption.
Yeah. Okay, and then I'm switching to the gray. So that one was, sorry, I didn't mention the name. That one was watermelon pink, sky blue, and then this one was matcha green. Love it. And koala gray. Where was this a couple weeks ago?
Koala.
Doing the koala, that would have been fun.
Good thing it doesn't say bear.
I would have gotten more emails about it. Telling me it was a marsupial. Marsupial gray. Sorry. I appreciate that people care enough to make sure that I know what I'm painting. I did get an email saying, that still life you're painting is not peaches, it's apricots. And I was like, no, it's not. And then I looked it up and it was like, yes, they were. And I was like, dang it. And then I couldn't find their email to apologize. So
here it is.
I know. Oh, well. So if that was you, sorry. You're right. I was wrong. But I'm still going to leave it saying peaches, I think, because I want to think they're peaches. I don't like apricots, so.
What about papples?
Yeah. All right. So just kind of sketching in the basic shapes here of the rocks. This one's kind of going that way. These ones are kind of facing off this way. Really like the this composition of the image. I just thought it was really beautiful. And the sky was just so vibrant. Okay, so I've sprayed my paints once. I'm going to spray them one more time just to make sure. I do have a little bit of glazing medium there just to help us out on the canvas, and I go ahead and use my number 6. I think I'm going to use the number 6 filbert, number 4 bright, number 8 flat, and number 2 round. And then I've got some smaller brushes here. I've got a couple of angle brushes, the 1/4 inch and 3/8 inch angle, the 3 round, number 2 script liner, and the blenders, the little filbert kind of tipped blenders. Those will work really well for the sky. And then I've got a fan brush. So again, all the description, all the materials that we're using there's lists down in the description for where you can buy the different things that we're using today. So, all right, I'm going to start out with the brightest part on the sun so that I don't paint over it, because I do that.
Oh, there's no guarantee still.
I still probably will some, but I'm going to start out with white right there and just kind of go right along that edge.
So
Maybe get a tiny bit of gray.
somebody asked about the pencils.
Yes.
How do they feel? You know, we know that you used watercolor pencils before. I mean, are they all the same? Or do they?
They're not as. I've used some that were very like super intense colors. They're a little bit softer, so I think they're a little bit easier to build up your layers. You're not gonna have to worry about them laying down too much color too quickly. But
Okay.
yeah, I think they were pretty decent.
And do you have to have one brush for every different color of paint? Or could they reuse a brush on some paints?
I think they can reuse the brush.
Okay, that's just making sure.
I know. I'm getting some sky blue here. I think this is sky blue. We'll find out. I don't know. But I'm going to use that way back here and just do, and I mixed white with it, so it's very faint. I'm going to use it way back here. And then I'm going to get a little bit of the Prussian blue because it's got a little bit of purple tones in it. You maybe get a little bit of the, I don't know what color that was. Purple, light purple. There. Right in there. Okay. Okay, and you want these to be very subtle and very light in the background here. These little mountains that we're seeing, especially right up underneath the sun, they're not going to have a lot of detail. They're getting really drowned out by that sunlight, so keep them very soft. Let's go ahead and use this color up and over here and off. And then I'm going to grab that blue again and use the blue. Whoop. Man, this brush is a little bit big for this area. For these little bitty ones, I probably could be using a smaller one. I don't want to mess with it right now. Okay, so just blending out. And I'm going to do really light right down here. So I'm going to get some white and just lay that on. This paint's really blending pretty well for me. I'm happy with that. I'm probably going to need a second coat because but that's pretty normal, so we'll see. We might not need it. And then down low here. Well, let's work on this guy. So I'm going to get some of the Ultramarine Blue and add it here. Maybe a little bit of that Prussian Blue.
So
it's such a pretty color.
Is there one white that you have there?
Yes, just one white.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to use this Ultramarine Blue, and I'm just going to feather it on so that it's thin and wispy, because I've got to do these pink clouds in between, so I'm going to leave a little bit of space. Get some of that violet. Use that up in this corner. And this brush is pretty firm. I probably could have used a one of my thinner brushes. I may switch to one because this may be a little bit too firm for these softer paints. Okay, you can see how I'm just very softly, lightly blending that down. I'm totally too close, honey. You got it zoomed in way. Yeah, there we go. Was off camera on both sides. Getting some of that lighter blue. Mixing that in. And I'm going in the direction that those clouds are kind of sweeping, so I'm kind of seeing that left to right motion in the sky, so I'm just kind of doing it that way, so it's going to be a little bit easier to when we get the other layers on there. It's actually working pretty good. The closer I get to the bottom here, the more white I'm going to use in the blue part. And I'm not even dipping back into that color. I'm just already just using what's on my brush. I wiped off everything and now I'm just kind of blending that blue up in. I'm going to get some of that medium color and kind of that transition between the dark and the light. Okay, and then as we get down here, this is mostly going to be white down here. So I'm going to go ahead and clean my brush out at this point. I'm going to get this lemon yellow, a little bit of white. I'm going to use it down low. Right above our sunlight. Our sun was going to be like right in there. It's just quite, it's not quite center, so it's just a little bit to the side of the center. And then we're going to just kind of grab in some of these brighter colors and do them around. Some Indian yellow. That was a pale yellow. This is the Indian. Getting some of this yellow orange. Add a little bit of white to it just to soften it up a little bit. It's very close to that Indian yellow color. It's going to look a little bit bright here at the first that we put it on, but that's okay. We'll tone it down as we work on it some more.
Kind of like me. I looked bright at first, and then I kind of toned down afterwards.
You're like, maybe not so bright after all.
You're like, wait a minute. I thought he was brighter than that. You're not disagreeing, which is proof.
No comment. I love it. All right. continue on through here. I'm trying to use all these colors. I mean, they're on here. Let's use them, right? So I'm just gonna. I see it's getting a little bit pink as it's going out, so I'm probably gonna have to mix in some pink here. I think this is the red orange, possibly, maybe.
Is that all 60 colors?
No,
Oh, I was gonna say.
no, no. I couldn't get all 60 on here, but I just picked the ones that I knew looked like they were in this picture, and that's why I picked this picture because it had so many different colors too. You know, when I knew I was going to do the video for them, I wanted to pick one that would showcase the most colors. And this one definitely has a lot going on. So, but if you don't have these, you can mix. You know, you can mix some of these colors as long as you have kind of a bright reddish, orangey red. And a yellow, you can mix these colors that are in between, you know, just by adding a little bit of the yellow or a little bit of the orangey red to your palette or to your mixture. Let's see what this is. I think this is the Vermillion. Ooh, that's pretty. Very bright. These oranges and reds are very low. They're only in this like one little section right in here, and then they start to turn pink and purple pretty quick. So
Purple pink, huh?
purple pink. Did I say that?
I think you said pink. And then you said purple.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm here for.
Purple pink, I said.
Okay.
I think. That's what I meant to say at least. All right. Let's see. So there's like a little bit of blue on that horizon line there that we missed. So I'm getting ready. I think I'm going to go ahead and switch to a smaller brush, and that way I can get some of these mixtures in here. Just spray my paints again. I'm putting out less paint too, so I'm going to have to spray more often because it'll tend to dry out a little bit faster than the bigger, you know, ones will. And that's just because I didn't want to put out too much paint. I didn't know how much of each color I was going to use. You can always put out more paint, but you just have to watch it to make sure they don't dry out before you get to use them. And honestly, if I was doing this, I probably would only put out the ones that I knew I was going to use right then, and maybe save all my greens to put out later. And that way I know, you know, that they wouldn't be drying out while I was doing these other stuff, these other layers. So just think about that. You may save your colors for later. Okay, so I'm adding a little bit of this blue back in here. And some of these layers. You don't want it to turn green, so just be careful not to blend on top of yellow paint that's wet. But you can put the blue on around the paint once it's dry. It won't be a problem. And I'm adding the white so it's opaque, you know, it's gonna kind of, but I'm just softening up and blending in these colors down here close to the sun. Grab some more of the just plain white here. Add it right in here where I'm going to have that starburst happening. Make sure it's nice and bright right there. And then getting some of that pale yellow and coming around the side and kind of just creating that little sun. It's not quite a circle, but it's almost like a circle right there where the white paint is. And then what we're going to do is once all of this is painted and dried, we're going to do our little starburst or sunburst coming out from here with the yellow. So we can go a little bit darker than we need it to finish, you know. But
And technically you're right.
What? Technically I'm right. What?
Because the sun is a star.
Oh, there you go. Starburst. Yep.
So, and they're a good candy.
Okay, so I've mixed some rose in with the orange here, the orange yellow. I'm gonna grab some white, use it down here low, I'll blend it in all through here. And then just get some of that. Ooh, that's so pretty. That's a color right up in here. Start to see some layers of this brighter red. And they're real close together, so there's just the slightest little separation of tones, of values in that color there to leave that impression of these layers of clouds layering in towards the sun. Get some more pink. I came down too low right there, so I'm just going to get some white and go back over that. As I get closer to the sun, I'm going to go more light white in my paint. Let's go ahead and go with this color all the way across. It's going to look like a hot mess at first, so you got to kind of just trust the process, and it will get it there. But especially clouds just tend to have a lot of weird layers before they start to come together. So just going to have to keep on going. Don't put down too much color at once. That's one of the things that can trip you up, is just trying to finish these clouds in one layer. That's what's going to, cause you to have some weird, it won't look quite as natural. So we're just going to have to kind of layer very slowly. And these layers are going to be really small and tight, closer together, down close to the horizon line. And then as we go up higher, our layers are going to start separating out and becoming larger clumps of clouds. So let's go ahead and put some of those in so we kind of have a reference for where some of these larger clouds are living. What are you laughing at?
Oh, just reminds me of somebody else.
Yeah.
So how you doing, babe?
Good. Doing good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Did we say hi to everybody?
We didn't. Hi, guys. Glad you're joining us today.
Welcome to our Saturday show.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're here with us.
Be awkward if they weren't.
Oh, wait a minute. I have to hit start stream. Hold on a second. Okay. All right, go ahead. Now people are listening.
I've been on mute this whole time.
Yep. You're doing painting and mime. Anyways, if you want more of this ridiculousness, you can like, subscribe, all that stuff.
Yeah, hopefully you'll come back and join us. We do this twice a week on YouTube, and I have other stuff on Patreon for those who really want to dig deeper and get more one-on-one type lessons. Quite one-on-one, but we got small groups and smaller painting sessions where we do more detailed and just longer painting, more advanced, I should say, lessons. Going through with this orange here, just kind of this light orange, and just kind of softening up all of that rose that I just put in. So I'm kind of laying down one color and then kind of softening it up, softening, going back and forth. So now I'm going to soften up a little bit more with like right in here, because we've got kind of a hard line between this and this. So I'm just going to clean out all that pink out of my brush if I can get it out. And get some more of that white and yellow that's real close to the center here. Maybe get some of the brighter yellow. And just go over that transition area with my yellow and see how that blends that out. Softens it all up. So don't be afraid of going in with your darker colors close to the center. You've got to have those kind of in there. But you can always go back over and soften them up later. And blend them in. Just by going over it with a little bit of an opaque. However, and these are blending really nicely. They're layering really nicely. I'm pretty happy with the way they're working. So, all right. Looks pretty good. See how that worked to soften that up there. Let me get a little bit bigger brush. I'm going to get the 3/8 inch blender, and let's continue with the rose color. I'm just going to tap here. Kind of lost my blue layers in between here, so I'm going to probably have to add some blue in between some of these layers again. But I'm really just tapping and kind of scrubbing in those edges a little bit. These are kind of merging right there into one. Go ahead and tap. And I'm going to look for these areas where I left some white and make sure I cover everything. Let's go ahead and get some of that burgundy. Bordeaux Red. We'll use that up in the darkest areas of our clouds up in here.
I like Bordeaux Red.
I knew you were going to say that. I was just waiting for it. It's like, did he hear me?
Oh, yeah. I was thinking, wait a minute.
Like Bordeaux?
I do not have my paint supplies here with me.
We're not prepared for today's show, are you?
I know, I'm not.
Getting a little bit of glazing medium just to kind of help give it a little bit of transparency. And up in here, there's just the clouds are getting bigger as they go up to the top, so I don't want to cover up all my blue. I'm just mainly right now just working on getting my drawing, getting them kind of drawn in, quote, they're not really drawn, but you know what I mean. Just kind of trying to get my basic shapes in, and then I can work on highlighting them and all of that. Okay, pretty happy with that.
Looking pretty good.
Thanks.
And if you're regular here, you'll know my next statement. And the painting looks good too.
I fell for it this time.
You can play along at home.
Oh. You're definitely, are you sure you're not not drinking this morning, guys.
This morning.
Or this afternoon. Because,
No.
I'm pretty sure I did not comb my hair. That was so funny. The other day, Mark came home and he was like,
2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago.
Did you cut your
Tuesday.
hair? He was like, you did something different with your hair.
Well, okay. So hold on here. So Angela says, like on Sunday, a couple weeks ago, I think I'm going to get my hair cut this week. Okay, so I came home.
He's waiting
Tuesday,
for it. He's just looking for
and
it.
I'm looking. I'm like, well, did you cut your hair? And she says,
I combed it. Oh, poor Mark. Nope, I just brushed my hair. That's all. It was different. Oh my gosh. My hair is pretty curly usually. Not curly, but wavy. And so it's always kind of a messy. Yeah, so I brushed it out. It was real smooth looking. In his defense, but that was hilarious.
so then the next Tuesday,
Yeah,
she did get her hair cut. I didn't say anything when we first started, and then when I noticed it was during the show, so I didn't want to say anything during the show. Mm-hmm. And then after the show, we're sitting on the couch, how stars do, the after party, eating dinner and watching
TV, yeah.
And she goes, well, I did get my hair cut today.
I was just waiting for him to notice. Yeah. I don't know why I would think you would notice stuff like that, because you don't even notice the stuff in the pantry that's right in front of your face. So pretty sure your powers of observation are not your strong suit.
Okay, so do you want me to tell myself?
What?
So the other morning...
This is blue, by the way. I'm just putting in blue in between, filling this back in. Okay, go with your story.
I ran out of shampoo.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, I saw that my shampoo, you had more in a little hanging basket.
Right.
So I got it out and I put it there.
Right.
And I go around, do my thing, I shave and all that, and I go to
Getting
reach
ultramarine blue here. Uh-huh.
Go to reach for a cotton swab, and there's none there. So I open the drawer where they used to be. I can't find them. I'm like, oh, seriously? We don't have any cotton swabs left? Well, then when I
So
go...
did you go all the way to Spencer's bathroom to get some?
No, so when I go to get dressed, I notice there's a big box of cotton swabs in the basket right next to where my shampoo was that I just pulled out.
You just pulled out of the basket. Like I said.
Yeah.
I don't know why they called men hunter-gatherers. I don't know. It's a mystery to me, because
Well,
I'm pretty sure that...
the only place I hunt is at the grocery store.
Exactly. Yeah. Once it goes up on the shelf, it's lost. Or in the basket. All right. I'm just kind of layering in my blues here. Kind of putting them back in between and softening up the edges of my clouds. And like I said, I'll be doing this multiple times, so we'll just kind of go back and forth and until I kind of like the softness that I'm getting out of the clouds here. I'm just scrubbing in and kind of blending them wet into wet sometimes just onto the dry paint. So in this case right now, obviously the paint underneath is dry. And I don't want to put the wet blue over the top of any of these areas where I've got the yellow, because then it'll turn my sky green, and I don't want that. But I can blend it with the pink clouds while they're wet just fine. I don't want to blend it with the orange either, because orange and blue are opposite on the color wheel, and they are going to make a brown if you mix them together. So just kind of know your colors and how they interact a little bit can help when you're doing stuff like this too. That's why we're just kind of going back through here and adding back in some of this blue that we lost to our layering. looking good. I'm happy. I'm not going to spend much more time on this guy because it's got lots to do on the rest of it. Well, let's go ahead and let that dry completely, and we'll work on some stuff, and then we'll come back to it because I don't want to continue scrubbing on it while that paint's still a little bit fresh. And I think I'm going to use this neon pink in this guy. Let me try a little bit of it and see. I'm excited. Shh. Let's listen. Don't scare it.
On it.
Oh, look at how, wow. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Look how fiery that looks. All right, so we'll do that later. I'm going to let all of that dry real good, and we'll work on some stuff down here. My phone is looking at me.
It's not mine.
No, it was mine. Okay. So, do you mind getting me something to drink?
Sure.
You get, okay, sorry. Let's see. Yeah, I think this one. So I'm going to use the number 4 bright here, and we'll start on our mountains. You want to pick a brush that's just big enough for the area that you're working on, but not too big. So right over here we had a little bit of that. I'm going to spray again. Get some of that. Actually, let's get some phthalo blue, see what happens. I've got a little bit of the purple, a little bit of the phthalo blue. That's not quite the color I'm going for. Let me try cerulean blue. Okay, let's try that. Right in here, it's our little mountain is fitting right in this little area. And that's probably a little bit, see how bright that is, this transition between those two. So I don't want it to be that drastic. Although this one is closer to us, the ones that are farther away are going to be lighter and more faded. So I'm going to go ahead and mix up a little bit more of that color with some white and just try to darken up this little area right here just a little bit. Just setting, tapping, and kind of pulling down a little bit, and then I can grab some more white and just sort of pull that down. This will give us our second coat that we were talking about needing to in this area. Getting more white here, just blending that white into that wet paint. I'm happy with this acrylic pad. I'm pleasantly surprised. I really don't, like I said, I don't like painting on these, but it's not soaking up when I've used before what I've used, because I didn't like the slickness of the acrylic pads. I've used mixed media paper before to paint on paper, and the thing with mixed media paper though is it sucks the moisture out of your paint like immediately, and so this is actually doing pretty good. It's not sucking the moisture out of the paint.
Somebody has asked about the texture of the paint. Is it creamy?
Yes, it is. It's very creamy. It's very much a medium body paint. Okay, I think that's going to work there. And, oh, thank you. You put it in my cup even.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Okay, so let's use this color over here. This same blue over here, and I'm going to add just a little bit of brown to it. Let's get a little bit of the burnt umber. So we're going for kind of a smoky brownish gray, or blue-gray kind of color here. We're going to put green over the top, but it's really not a green. Your eye is going to want to do a green. You know, you're going to be like, that's green, but because you're seeing the green in front and your eye, you already know that is green, but it's farther away, and so it's going to be influenced by more of the blues that are in the sky and things. So it's always a good idea for these far mountains to add blue. It's just a really good color. It immediately pushes your eye back and makes you think it's farther away. It's just kind of a good like trigger for your eye. Good way of fooling the senses. We're all just trying to create that illusion of depth on a flat surface. So using these colors, the blue of the sky is a really great way of influencing that. Okay, I'm going to go a little bit lighter with this as they go farther back, a little bit lighter each time. And the places that the sunlight's hitting, they're going to be a little bit more green. So we're going to put some green in there, but we're going to have this color as our base underneath, like the rocks that are underneath and the growth underneath. And let's use this over here. Well, going to continue this around this way. Grabbing a little bit of glazing medium because it's just not wanting to go on smoothly for me down in this middle area for some reason. Okay. And I'm looking at my photograph, and the mountain is, all of the ridges and things are going in this direction, so that's why I'm painting them in that direction. I want to mimic the natural motion of that mountain formation there. Let's get a little bit of let's get a little cerulean blue with some white. And I'm going to grab some gray. Right in here, there's some kind of gray stone that's catching the light. Okay. Red, the ultramarine blue, and a little bit of the brown, burnt umber. Some white. So I'm going for a little bit lighter color than what's over here because this is closer to the sun. These are going to be lighter. They're going to be all highlighted and everything when we put the star or the burst over the top. So I want them to be just a little bit lighter toned. Just give us a head start on that. Oops, that was a rock there. Gonna get some of that blue. That was part of that rock formation that's in the foreground here. I'll just follow that line there. The hillside, I'm going to grab some of the olive green here. Mix that in with this blue that I've been using. And just use it on this last little bit of the mountain. And then I'm going to use it a little bit down in here and just kind of create some streaks of color with that olive green. Maybe up in here, this color, this paint is dry underneath now, so I can kind of control the amount of this olive green I'm putting on. It's not bad. Okay. And then going back into the Ultramarine Blue that we were using over here, let's just go ahead and finish this whole area with that. I'm going right up to that rock and around it that's in the foreground. Let me get a little bit more of the blue. I'll get some Prussian and Phthalo Blue too. Just going to use all those blues in here. Really pretty, nice and dark. This area is going to be our darkest shadow area in our foreground. Don't be afraid to go real dark there. And it's probably going to take a couple coats. It's not one to cover. Oh, my phone again. Yeah, someone's calling me. It reminds me when my brother called me. Was that on a Saturday? Or was that? So. Okay, yeah. It's like, I'm painting. It's like, oh, okay. It's like my family obviously does not watch my show.
Exactly. At least it's not like that one video that went viral with that guy doing the interview and his kids walking in behind him.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah. Yeah, there's a reason why I didn't do this when my boys were younger. There's no way. I could have kept them quiet for long enough to do a video. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine? And keep them out of trouble long enough to not burn down the house or something. Like, oh my. Okay, so you can see how we're just getting a little bit darker as we go into the foreground here. And I want to blend these two colors together. That's not supposed to be another mountain thing there, so I'm just going to kind of scrub out that edge there. Bring that down right up into the rock face that we're seeing there. And don't worry about the outline of it. What we can do is we'll be, when we put this rock in, I'd rather have more of it covered up than less, so don't worry if your outline is not quite correct on it. We'll probably be bringing it out a little bit farther. You don't want to have to go back in and try to match up this background color is what I'm saying, so just... Okay. That's pretty good. Let's go ahead and put in some of our greens in our foregrounds here. Wow, that is bright. Okay, so I'm not going to want it that bright. I'm going to add a little bit of that blue to it. That'll tone it down. It's just easy.
Get in line.
Get it. You're not that bright.
I know.
I'm talking the paint now.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Let's see. I'm going to grab some brown, and I'm going to get this Naples Yellow, which is kind of close to the unbleached titanium as I could find. Use that down in here to create some dirt area. And then look right in here, I didn't bring this mountain down far enough. I'm going to grab some blue, mix that in with that green, and do some we're just going to add some bush-like growth on our mountain there. And there's some dark areas in here. So let's go ahead and switch back to this little Willows blender. And we'll use it in the mountain here. Make sure that that background's dry. This is Ultramarine Blue with some the green here. Some of the, I think that's deep green maybe. Again, always kind of influencing this background area with some blue. Just makes it a little bit more natural looking, a little bit farther away. And then like right in here, there's just so much sunlight happening that you can't really tell what's happening, but we're going to go ahead and kind of try to, mimic what we think is under there as much as we can. But I've already got it a lot lighter right there. You can see how it already kind of looks a little bit like sunlight peeking over the edge. And we'll see. I may end up just doing some pink streaks over this area before we do the yellow, because there's such a strong pink influence. I'm not sure exactly how we're going to do it, so we'll see how it works. Hopefully it'll come together. I think it will, but let's get some of this blue. I'm going to get some of this cold gray, I think it's called, and some of the ultramarine blue. And I'm going to use it to create some rocks, and I'm just going to tap and kind of drag. Don't do too much detail, just kind of giving a little indication of the rocky ground there. And if it's too light, you can always go back in and add more of the shadows over the top. There we go. I think that's good. We're not wanting this area to be our focal point, so we're keeping it kind of blended and soft and kind of less distinct. And then we're going to really focus on this area being our real, really detailed and really bright. And just by kind of keeping something blurry like this background area, keeping it kind of less distinct and a little bit more blurry, it helps also kind of create that illusion of distance, because you're going to have more contrast in your colors. So these areas back in here that are farther away are going to be closer together in value. They're going to be, in this case, they're dark because the sunlight's behind them, so there's not a lot of light hitting this whole valley area. But the values are not like like they are in the sunlight, you know, where you see the difference. In fact, we're going to darken up this quite a bit to the same darkness as this. So you can see how much the difference is. This is not anywhere close to as bright as, well, this is way more bright than this. This is closer to this color actually in value. So there are only, you know, maybe like 3 different value shifts in this whole area. You're not seeing a really big contrast, and that's also what happens when things go farther away. The contrast is less. So as we get closer, we're going to have a lot of shift in our contrast. We're going to have these rocks really, really dark and really, really bright areas, and that will also kind of pull them forward, and we'll have a lot more distinct features and a lot more contrast in the colors and values as things get closer to us. Hopefully that made sense. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Okay, good. All right. When I get going on something like that, I'm like, I don't know. What is my point? Trying to wrap it up. Like,
and therefore,
I know what I want to say, but I'm in my art brain, and so sometimes it's like...
And that's why water is wet. What? No, what was I saying?
Exactly. All right, I am going to clean off my palette because we have a lot going on here, and I don't have any room left to do new colors. And you don't want to paint over the top of a palette that's already dry because it will flake. The paint starts to flake, and so then you get little bits of flakes and chunks of color in your upper layers. You definitely don't want that. So just probably right about now, you're going to need a fresh palette. If you're like me. And some probably have already switched it 2 or 3 times from the photos I get. Some people send me photos of their palettes. I'm like, this is your palette looks like, and this is what mine. I love those pictures. It's okay. Whatever works for you. All right. This is fun, and I'm probably not going to end up using every single one of these colors, but that's okay. But it is actually pretty nice to have, you know me, I like all the colors anyway, so I try to limit myself in my palette when I paint on YouTube, just because, you know, I know people don't want to have to go out and get all the colors I'm using sometimes. So, But that a box like that is pretty sweet. So you get kind of a pretty good value for your money. And I love it. It definitely speeds things up when you don't have to stop to mix every single color, you know. All right, so I'm happy with that up until about right here. And then this is kind of broken down here. I need to kind of work on this transition between this background area and then the foreground here and where these rocks start. So let's go ahead and put in some of this greenery that's down low. I'm going to go ahead and use my filbert for that. And my deepest, let's get some of the Prussian and some, I don't remember what these colors were. Prussian green and deep green, I think. Yeah, and then emerald green. Let's see what the other one was. Phthalo green. Oh, that's phthalo green, I think. That's phthalo green. This is deep green and this is Prussian green. Okay, so I'm using phthalo green here. Ooh, look how bright that is. And we'll probably want to tone it down. So I'm going to get some of this raw umber, I think it is. And yeah, that's better. Kind of gives it a little bit more natural look. You know, you don't see that kind of neon green very often in nature. It's going to be more neutralized. You know, and I may be sorry that I cover this whole area with, well, I'll probably just have to do my pink flowers in with white first. Just realized covering all this with the green is probably not the best idea, but we'll make it work. Mainly just trying to get the canvas covered right now. So I'm gonna get that brown. Let's get some of these browns here and I'll just use it over here. And really what I'm looking at is my photograph. See how dark those greens are in there? That really dark area, they're almost black. So that's what I'm kind of trying to do. I'm putting that base layer in of this really dark darkness so that when we put our light colors on, they really pop off the canvas. So we've got that, like I was saying before, that really huge contrast between this super bright and really, really dark areas. And that's not dark enough to even give me my effective demonstration, but you get the idea. Okay, let's put some green down here. Get some of this green from the I think it's yellow green. I like this color. And I added some brown to it. It's kind of almost like a green gold color. I'm just going to put it in this direction. This hillside is sloping off down this way. It might even be lower. I'm looking at the picture. I might want to add some blue up higher. Really like make it more dramatic. Like that. And then this area here is that color again. So going across. I'm going to bring this up. That'll increase that slope. Really have that kind of coming down like it's really dropping off the face of the earth there. This is supposed to be blue though, so I'm gonna cover it with blue instead of that green. Add just a little bit of white. There we go. Just to blend it in. Okay. That's rock. That's part of that rock there, so it looks weird, but it's supposed to be there. That's that rock. So let's bring it down over. And I'm gonna let's use the purple and the Prussian blue. Actually, let's use the Payne's gray. That'll be a good color because Payne's gray is black and burnt umber, or burnt ultramarine blue. So I'm going to use that in our cracks in the rock here. And there's some greenery that's going to be covering over the top of some of these rocks, so I don't need to worry about that right now. We'll be adding that up in this area here. I love this. Look at this. It's really fun to paint rocks. They're very angular, so if you kind of just remember to kind of keep these long lines. It's kind of your eye will kind of interpret it as a rock. It's pretty cool. You don't have to do a whole lot to get them to look like rocks. All right. And just using blue as kind of our undertone. We're going to add greens and other colors to it, but for kind of our shadow areas on here, I want this. Oh, yeah, I was using Prussian, or the Payne's Gray, I forgot. I'll probably need to do a little bit darker in some of these areas because I had that lighter color in my brush. There we go. And then the lighter color, this area right here is a little bit lighter. Okay, so mainly I'm just trying to really just cover everything right now. Just get it covered. That Payne's Gray. And then on this rock here, it's really dark going down into the bushes. And there's going to be a highlighted edge right here where it's facing the sun. See that? Excuse me. Fun. All right. Bring that down a little bit. Notice this rock, not quite that tall right there. We're going to put the greenery up over the top of that edge, so you don't have to worry about these transition areas at all. Will be just as long as they're kind of the same value. You don't have to worry about them blending just right. Won't matter. So let's bring a little bit of that green brown color, that yellow green, down in here. Come on, doesn't want to cover right there. So you can add a little bit of white. White's the fix it all. If it won't cover, probably those colors were just kind of transparent. And they didn't want to cover right there. So adding a little bit of white, giving some of these areas a second coat. Blend them in a little bit. And I feel like right in there is probably a little bit darker in the background. So I'm going to get some of that Prussian blue, a little bit of the white. Maybe a little bit of the green. Get a deep green here. Kind of create a teal color. And use it down in here in this valley area. I just want to be able to kind of do almost a straight line right there, so I'm going to bring this down just a little bit right here. And notice this green is a little bit high. And then just sort of pull up with that color to blend it up into this background area. Tap it. Sorry if the suggestion is some greenery or something. Okay. Much better. So having that bright area there, see how that really pops everything forward. Now we can tell this is foreground right here. Just really pushes all that back. There, it's really nice. That nice little trick. And then we'll do the same thing with our flowers and things in the foreground. With the brighter colors. You gotta have those dark colors in there though to create that drama. That effect. Okay, let's get some yellow oxide here. I'm mixing it with Mars Brown, I think. Not sure. I can't remember what brown that was right there. Oh, that was burnt sienna. So let's add a little bit of white. These are actually going pretty far too. If you look at, of course we have a lot of colors out, but they're coming pretty well. Maybe switch to my stippler here. I'm just going to stipple in some brown dirt areas. Get a little bit of the just a little bit of it along that ridge line right here, kind of in this foreground area, separating this mountain side from that down there. And let's get some more of that cold gray, maybe a little bit of the blue, and do one more layer of the rocks on that mountain back there. And this and that are the same value in our picture just about. So I'm going to get some of that green and blend that in. So this mountain here kind of just a little bit darker than this foreground in front. And we can brighten up that foreground, but I'm trying to match this to that right there. Kind of falls in together right there. There we go. That's better. Okay, so this is just that brown with just a little bit of that yellow green in it. Really pretty. Okay, so let's get a little bit more of that yellow green, a little bit of the, let's get the Naples Yellow. And I'm going to highlight that ridge line. Now this is where you want to be careful and don't use too much, because you just want it to, this is going to make an impact, so just want to use your highlight colors very selectively. This is what's really going to draw your eye in. Pretty. I use a little bit of it in here. Like that mountainside back there is getting hit by the light too. I can even use a little bit of the lemon yellow to mimic the colors in the sky. Ooh, that's really going to be bright. That might be too bright. I can blend my colors out here, and I can grab some of that green that's around it and just kind of tone it down just a little bit by kind of blending back over that area and kind of blending it in slightly so that it is not so dramatic. But it's a good color. So I want to use it along this ridge line to really make this whole foreground, bright, and merge these colors all the way across so that they look like the same plane. Get some of this olive green. I'm going to use the olive green as kind of shadow areas in here. Kind of transition between that bright color. Use it down here and use it in here also. Just tapping kind of side by side, side to side motion. Good. All right, I'm happy with that. Oh, we got an hour and a half already. Okay. This last little bit's going to go real fast though, so. And we're pretty close on the rocks. This just needs a few little highlights. So this sky is definitely ready for our last little bits of color. So I'm going to spray everything. Just make sure it's staying wet. Let's get that neon pink. Man, that's such a pretty color. And I'm going to just very lightly dust it in some of these bright areas. And really around this area here where the sunlight's definitely hitting it and it's going to be the brightest. That's a pretty color. It's definitely kind of a fluorescent magenta or fluorescent pink. Neon pink. I think this is going to be in my repertoire of colors from now on. I like this a lot.
I kind of like the look of the jagged edges on the painting there.
Oh yeah, yeah, it is kind of cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you definitely could do it that way for sure. I think that would be neat.
Mm-hmm. The art police won't come get me if I try to do it like that.
I won't call you in. I won't.
Okay.
I won't turn you in.
I won't lose any points in the art race, right?
Nope.
Okay.
Oh, that's so pretty. Okay. I want to darken up those corners, so I'm going to glaze some dark blue in those corners. I'm going to go with phthalo blue here, I think. And some purple violet, I think. Yeah, I could probably use Prussian blue, but I'm all out of it, and I don't want to have to try to dig it out of my paint thing, so I'm just going to mix up a dark purpley blue. And lots of glazing medium. I'm just going to glaze over these corners with this. And once I get that first layer of color on, I'm going to wipe my brush off really good. And then come back from the clean area and just blend out that clean. Blend out that area that is no paint and into the painted area. Blend it out. There we go. Okay, so let's keep on going, get some more. Do this area over here. So go down almost to where you want it to stop. So just leave a little bit of a border for you to blend it in. So if you don't, then you're going to blend it down farther than you want it to go. So right about there, I'm going to wipe my brush clean. It doesn't have to be fully clean. It just has to be, free from most of the paint. And just lightly down, back and forth. And I'm going in that kind of direction that I've done the rest of it. And there we go. So now we've got those corners nice and dark. I add a little bit of it. I've got paint that's picked up on my brush here, so I'm just going to brush it on in here. And I can also go in with just glazing medium and blend over some areas with just the glazing medium if I need to blend it in a little bit more. But that looks pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to go back one more time with my bright neon over the top of this because there is some of this neon color, and I'm going to have to be careful because that glazing medium is still a little bit wet, but Shouldn't lift too much. Don't over scrub because it will lift off that glazing medium. There we go. Pretty. And there's some purpley areas in there too, so I could get some of that purple color and add that in if I need it. And some of these areas, like right at the top of all of these cloud formations, there's like a shadow right at the top. This bottom area is where you're getting the bright color, and then right above it is the shadow. That wasn't blended in very well right there, so I'm going to have to blend it in right there. You don't want to leave streaks. You can always blend them out later if you need to, but okay, very good. Happy with that. Let's go ahead and grab some white. I'm going to put some more white out. And get some pink. Mix that with the white. I'm just going to dab in little, just using the kind of the corner here, little flower clusters in my field. And these are going to be too bright, so I'll be going back in and adding some darker color. I wasn't sure. Let's get some of the magenta here, and I'm going to add some magenta in there with it. And I'll probably go back in with a little bit of green and tone it down with a little green here and there, but looks pretty good. And I don't see much of it over here, but I'm going to go ahead and put some just because we can do what we want to our painting. Yeah, okay. Let's get some of that yellow green, a little bit of, let's get some yellow. A little bit of the yellow oxide, maybe. I'm just going to tap that in around my flowers just to kind of settle them in. And if they don't look dark enough, I can get some of that darker green and tap some of that in and around those. Just want them to kind of look like they're part of the landscape. Give the foreground here a little bit of depth in some areas. So a little bit of light and dark contrast. Here we go. Some of the lighter yellow, yellow green. Very good. I'm going to get some of that Naples yellow with some of the yellow oxide. Maybe a little bit of the brown. Some white. I'm just trying to create like a neutral brown, a soft beige color. I'm going to use that up in here. It's still not quite bright enough. There we go. Good. And then we'll use it down in here. Just right up next to our rocks. Get some of the darker browns. I'm going to just use it right in here. Kind of transition from this grassy to the rocky area down in here. And then I'm going to get this cold gray. I really like this color because it's got a little bit of a blue tone in it, so it's working really good for my rocks. And I'm just going to use it right in here. And I'm going to go right along the edge where I want it the brightest and then just kind of pull back with it and let it sort of break up a little bit. Look kind of like rocks. And I'm going to get a little bit of Cerulean Blue. I still have a little bit of green in my brush too, so that's all right. It kind of looks like that moss color. Almost. Pull some of that in there. And now I'm going to just look at my rock and see where I'm seeing the brightest areas. I want to kind of go for those first. So I'm going to really shape out my forms on this rock, leaving a little bit of the dark in between. Going with the white and the cold gray. Tapping. It's got a lot of moss and stuff, so a lot of lichen. Getting some of that ultramarine blue, and mix in some of this color. And a little bit of brown. Kind of gray it out a little bit. There we go. Use that in my mid-tone area. I'm probably going to have to add some more of the dark in, but... And I'm going to go right over the top of where my greenery is in this area. Let's get some more white here. And I'm going to highlight this rock. Probably a little bit darker than it's going to end up, but I can glaze back over it to tone it down. So I'm going to go a little bit darker than or brighter, I should say, than I need it to end up. And it's going to dry a little bit darker too. So that's pretty normal with acrylic paints. A lot of this is going to be covered by greenery, but there is kind of some of this rock that's peeking through, so I want to go ahead and just put in these areas. See that? Really easy and fun. These are...
I do see it.
It is fun to do. Okay, and then there is this one part that's sticking up right here. And then most of this is in shadow down through there. Oh, fun. How's everybody doing today? Hanging in there?
Yes, we are.
Good. You've been talking about the garden?
No, actually, we haven't. Not at all. But we do have little baby lettuce sprouts.
Mark's decided he needs a truck.
Yes.
I think Arkansas is finally, you've been here. It's like it kind of seeps into your blood the longer that you live here.
Let's
The more it's just like, buy a pickup.
I just think it's about time I become a man. That's all I'm saying.
A real man.
So I can make noise while I'm going down the road.
So all the neighbors doing their videos will hear you coming.
Yep.
I think that's awesome. I'm getting the Prussian Blue here to go back in. Prius is just not doing it for you, huh?
Yeah. So before I buy the truck, I have to have them start it so I can hear it.
That's going to be the main deciding factor. Is how loud is it?
I don't care.
It's not sufficiently loud.
How much it can tow or things like that. How stinking loud is it?
I want the loudest truck on the lot.
Can I get a loudness upgrade?
Oh my gosh. You can take the muffler out like my uncle did when he was in high school. He took the muffler out of his car. So it was just like, it's like the loudest noise ever every time he turned it on. And he lived with us, so my mom loved that. I can tell you. Okay. I'm going to darken back up this. Oh my gosh, that's funny. I don't even think about the loud factor. I know, I understand. I get it. Like I thought, well, like why would you want it for? I mean, but yeah, I get it now. You need a loud truck. You got to compete. These neighbors are
exactly
showing you up.
Exactly.
Oh, here he comes. I can hear him. No, I'm serious. I could hear him. Maybe just he went the other way. I think he's coming from the other part of the neighborhood. Yeah.
So I need to start a Patreon page, I guess.
Buy Mark a truck.
For my truck.
So are you going to get out during the show and like rev it for us so we can hear it?
I could. Maybe that could be like the intro music.
You're crazy.
I'll create some animation like I'm driving you in the big truck with all your supplies.
Okay.
Oh, I like that idea.
Using the Payne's gray here just to add these really dark cracks in here. You're silly. There you go. I added a little bit of the emerald green and just for a little bit pop of color on there. A couple places. This is drying really fast. It's been dry air in the studio. I feel like.
Oh, yeah.
Probably need the humidifier going.
It's been dry the last few days.
Mm-hmm. And I don't want get the Payne's gray and some of the cold gray. Mix those two together. Don't want that to be a solid line, so I'm just going to tap in some of that. They're stippling on those rocks. Then we can get some of the green. Tap in the green. It's actually really dark, so I'm going to get the deep green and add a little bit of that Payne's gray to it, darken it up, maybe a little bit of black. It's going over the top of this rock, but I kind of want to leave a little bit of that rock showing in the tip of it, so I'm just going to kind of put it like right up near it, but not quite over the top of it. And then be down in here, and then this kind of follows in through here. Some dark green and some dark green kind of going over the top of that rock there. Get some of that sky blue and white. Just going a little bit different color, like a little bit more of a gray or a teal, kind of in that shadow side of the rock there. Let me. I've got like 3 brushes in my hand. I'm just going out. Oh my goodness. Okay, get some of that. If I can get some that's still wet. Nope. Okay. Just use some of that gray, mix it with that sky blue, and so I put that greenery in. Now I'm going to add the edge over the top of that green line that pushes it back. So see how that works. So now this rock's in front of that part. And I elongated this whole rock a little bit from the reference photo, so it's a little bit different. Just a little bit longer. Actually, no, that was probably right back there. Because this is all greenery in front here. Okay. Make a crack in that rock right there. How long have we gone? Okay. 2 hours. That's not bad. It's not bad. Not for something this complicated. I figured about 2 hours would be about right. So we're going to go a little bit over that, but not too much. We're almost done with these rocks here.
I won't even charge you overtime.
Yeah, my tax lady said I have to start paying Mark. He was all excited.
In chocolate bars?
Yeah, I can't pay him in chocolate anymore.
Oh. I got to talk to that tax lady. That's just not right. Okay, just adding a little bit of white there. Let's go back over to this one here and add a little bit of this different blue to this side of the
rock where it's kind of more on the shadow side. And then with the ultramarine blue. There. Yeah, these are starting to get dried out. Going with a little bit of a medium color right here, so soften the edge of that rock formation right there. Get a little bit of the darker dark. What was that? Do you hear that? It sounds like a woodpecker. Oh, it's a bird, yeah. Sure was. Well, I hope the woodpeckers don't get to those cedar posts on our front porch. That would be bad. That would be real bad. Ooh, that's looking good. I'm liking it. Using that brush or the Payne's gray right here, just darkening up. So that's a definitely woodpecker. Can you hear that on camera? He is up to no good out there. Okay. Kind of glazing here, just kind of lightly going over these edges and kind of blending in the light edges there. And I want to round this out a little bit differently. Bring it up this way. Did he fly off?
I didn't see him.
You didn't see him?
Nut hatches.
Mm. There we go. All right, and then sorry, that's my pillow. I promise. Okay, some of the sky blue, white, and gray here. I'm gonna put this rock that's in front right here. setting it down and kind of pulling to get those kind of broken edges there. To do some greenery back here. Behind this ledge right here, but in front of this one. It kind of goes from there to there, and then in front right here. That. And then we'll put some of this greenery kind of along this rock here. Just using some of that darker green. I think I was using Phthalo Green here maybe. And then let's get some of the brighter yellow, lemon yellow, and yellow green. I'm gonna add a little bit of white. Tap that in. I got a little bit of water there, so I wiped it off there. It was too watery. And then what I want to do is round this out to push that one back. So leave a little bit of the darkness in there, and maybe set my brush down and just kind of drag it upward a little bit. To create some little sections there. I'm going to get some of the medium green here and go back in because I kind of covered up all of the dark area. Really dark green here. I'm just going to tap back in some of that. And honestly, I kind of liked it better when I had that background section right there, so I think I'm going to do that. Just go back to this being this slope and not having this bush in front of it. Can wipe most of it off there. It wasn't dry yet, so yeah, there we go. I think I like that better. We'll just push this back up right in here and then call that good, because I just feel like I was kind of losing that little section right there. I like that. So just adjusting the composition just a little bit, which is fine. Okay, let's finish the rock though. Okay, getting ahead of myself here. Almost done with it. And then getting that ultramarine blue and using it. kind of a transition color. Okay. And some more almost white here. Really is kind of white. Brighten up these areas that we want to really catch the light. Okay. Get some of that Prussian blue. Ooh, picked up something. Got some green or something. Don't mind that. Let's get some of this medium green. I'm going to use it on some of this rock here. Got greenery growing up the sides of it and all over it. Got some of that emerald green. It's a really good like moss color. It's almost exactly what I'm seeing in here. Kind of a tealish, teal green. And then getting that Payne's gray, and I'm going to go back in here and add some of that in some shadow areas. Doing okay on hanging in there?
Of course.
Okay. I wish this rock I wish I'd move this rock over a little bit because I like it. I think it would be better if it was placed a little bit farther over so we could see more of this angle. I mean, I guess I could. Move it over here. Give it a little bit more of a dramatic swoop. Get some of that Phthalo Blue here. And some of the Payne's gray. Well, it's really not, it's pretty bright right up in here, so that angle comes out right about there, where it comes down. This is all pretty dark. Just a little bit lighter on that side, right there. Just a little bit of that lightness happening there. To get some white here. That to the there we go. It really kind of wraps around here, so I'm going to pull it through. It's kind of go. A little bit of light. All right. I'm going to go with a little bit of the Cerulean Blue here. With my, do this ledge right here that's kind of underneath. There. Okay. There's our truck. There's your truck. Okay, so I'm gonna go in here and create these kind of spiky shapes in this bush. Some yellow and green. It's mostly right along that tip. Let's get some of that emerald green and mix that with it. I'm going to use it right in here. Just barely touch down to create some little grasses. I'm just setting my brush down and kind of lifting into there. Create some color in our little mossy areas. I'm gonna tap a little bit of this color down in here. Okay, and then so these areas here, I'm gonna use this, I think, the round number 2, and do my leaves with it. Start out fairly dark and work my way lighter. So using the Prussian and deep green here, a little bit of white. I'm just gonna kind of flick little leafy shapes into this area over the top. A little bit smaller back here. And in the foreground, we kind of lost a little bit of our foreground because we stretched it, so it's not as much pink flowers here. We're going to have to bring this up a little bit, I think, to give us a little bit more room to add our pink flowers in here. So So get some of that really dark phthalo green here. Add some of that in. I want to overlap that little section of bush because it's like a different kind of flower. It's a different part of the different plant, I should say. Okay, and then I'm going to get the 3/8" angle. It's going to give us good flower shapes. Let me see how well we can get. I'm going to start with the darker. So I'm going to get this Bordeaux and rose and put in, this is right over the top of it. Put in some little sections of where I'm seeing these flowers, and I want to make them smaller back in here, so I'm going to get a little smaller, a little bit more clumped together along this back edge, and then start to, oh, these are small, small, small. This is almost a straight line of pink in here. Just a few kind of random ones sticking up. And it's going to be hard to see right now. That's fine. We just need a little bit of dark on the base of our flower sections. And then right in here, we're going to have some nice big ones. So these areas in the foreground, I'm going to kind of press really hard. Get a lot bigger flower clusters happening. If I use the tip of the brush and point it straight down, I can get almost like little dots. That's what I'm doing back here. Okay. Now, we'll see. I think we're going to have to add a lot of white to our pink to get it to cover this green. So I'm going to use the rose. It's doing all right. I think we're going to have to have a couple of cuts probably. You can see how I'm just kind of setting it down, and you can see the white is in there too. I didn't fully mix it, so I'm getting like a little bits of white and little bits of the pink. And that was water coming off my brush there. Get some of that magenta. Trying to find those areas where I just put that darker red and target those and tap over the top, leaving a little bit of it showing underneath. And this is really all I'm going to do for these flowers. These foreground ones might try to develop a little bit more, but I don't have to go into a huge amount of detail. I'm not leaving any green back there. True to form. This is, I like, if there's an open area, I'm going to add flowers there. So just, okay, so right about there, all the way across. That's where we're going to start those bigger flowers. And I'm going to get the, that might be the, actually this might be rose. I'm not sure what I was using there. I don't know. You'll have to look at the beginning of the video. Let's see where, I don't remember. But I like that there's so many different pinks here that I can grab and just go pretty quick. It's nice. Can work pretty fast and just they're already pre-mixed and ready to go. I just added a little bit of white to kind of get them to cover these dark greens that we already have underneath. But once we get our first layer on, we won't even have to do that. We can put them on solid. We won't even have to add white. Okay, and then getting some of that light magenta, I think it was. Let's get some pink too. And these flowers kind of have these, so I'm going to just kind of do a few that on top that have kind of a star shape almost, like that. Just sweeping a few in. Some of these back in here. I'm gonna grab some neon there too. Okay. Paint all the flowers. It's all flowers. We were doing a poll in my group, and somebody was like, can you have more choices that are not flowers? And I was like, no. Do you know me at all? Can we have, like, I can't remember how it was worded, but I was just like, no, we can't. What's the point?
That's a hard no.
If there's no flowers involved. Am I right? I mean, seriously. Mm-hmm. All right, we'll let that set. I'm going to get my script liner here and some of the lemon yellow. I'm going to have to add a lot of water. Get some of this. We'll use the olive green since the other one's dry. Just a green here. Just want a light green that's going to kind of blend in with this. And I'm going to do some. And we're going to have to add some white so it's more opaque and covers. But there's these. And right in here I'm seeing some. And they're really not part of this plant, so they're just kind of poking in around it. When you have it loaded with thin enough paint, you can kind of just get these real good, like. There we go. Peeking through, and then we're gonna go back in with more of our green. What are you laughing at?
Your volume.
Am I?
You go
going
from
low?
super quiet to really loud, so
Sorry.
it's like struggling to pick you up to all of a sudden it's just completely
Sorry.
blown out.
Blown out.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try to be better.
Oh, stop fooling us. That's like saying you're done
I know.
at the end of a painting.
I'm bad with my volume. I cannot. What is that? Saturday Night Live. Cannot control the modulation of my voice. That's me. It's like a dial that just dials down and back up real loud, and then back down and back up real loud. Oh well. That was a little bit too light, so I'm going to get some of this darker green, phthalo green. Just kind of tap in some of that dark green areas around my flowers. And if you go over the top of the green or the grass you just did, just make sure you don't go over the top part of it. Go over the bottom of it so that you're settling it down in. You don't want to have some weird shadow over the top of your grasses. And you could do this before you did your grasses too. I probably should have, but I'm kind of just trying to settle them in because they look like they're kind of pasted on there. So, and then you can always go back in for one more layer of. It's always good to just have lots of layers. Adds to the painting. You can do darker layer if you want some darker grasses too. Okay, and then I'm gonna get the smaller angle brush here. Yeah, these brushes are messed up. I'm gonna have to clean them right away. Make sure if you don't leave your paint brushes in the water, but if you've got dirty paint brushes like this, every now and then while you're painting, just dip them back in your water to keep them wet. You don't want that paint to dry out in there. Okay.
And then you don't want to forget them.
Well, don't say that. I never do that. I didn't do that last week.
Tuesday night? No.
I didn't do that Tuesday night. What are you talking about? I'm sitting on the couch and just like, oh, this is nice. And then like Mark's like, did you clean your brushes? No. And they were all sitting in the water. But I think we got them in time. I can't find the rose, so I'm just going to use this Magenta Light. And some pink. Thank you. Rose Madder. Oh, no, I want a rose.
There's a rose.
Yeah, thank you.
You artists and their wings.
I didn't name them.
You want some more Bordeaux Red?
I need more white.
Just regular white?
Yep.
I see titanium white.
Yeah, titanium white.
Oh, well. Gosh, I gave you rose, and that wasn't rose. But you want white? I don't know. Titanium white. Jeez. I am so confused over here right now.
Obviously can't read my mind. Okay, so now that we've got these other colors in here, we can go back in for a second layer, and then it'll really brighten it up quite a bit. And again, we're going to have to kind of go around some of those grasses if we need to. Added a little bit of white. I'm going pretty thick with this paint. Getting pretty good texture here. My flowers. Okay, I'm excited to try to peel this off. I hope it doesn't like take the whole painting with it.
I like that look. I'm sorry.
What? Oh, you like that look? Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, but it's tape. It's not on the paper, so it's not really what I want it to look like. I'm going to use a little bit of this pink and mix it in with the neon pink. And use that to highlight these flowers. That's really pretty. Again, just a few highlights is all you need. Very pretty. Okay, let's do our sky. Our little bursts in our sky. So I'm going to use my... Actually, I'm going to get a clean one. Find one. I think I like 3 of them in here. There we go. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to get a 1/4 inch and... I think use white here, some glazy medium, because I don't want it to be fully opaque. I want it to be translucent. And then I'm gonna start out with kind of a little bit of mauve in it. Let's see how that does. So we're gonna start here. Oh, that's working. Okay. I'm going to hold it on its side. And I'm always going to be pointing it at the sun. So I'm going to come this way. If I have it translucent enough, I can kind of, I might need a little bit more transparency. There we go. I want it brightest right at the top, right as it's coming off that sun, but I'm not really putting the pink too much on. I'm not going right up to the sun there with it. I'm mostly trying to kind of get that mountain just a little bit lighter right along that edge so that when I put my yellow over the top, it has some base there that's lighter. I thought about making my mountain lighter in this area, but I did a little bit lighter, but I don't have to, you don't have to make it so obvious. Okay, so do several small layers, let them dry in between. Don't try to get it all in one shot. Okay, I'm going to use this lemon yellow and our white and some glazy medium. If you don't have glazy medium, just use water. Oops, I got blue in there. Okay. And it may help if you turn your canvas so that you're pulling this way. It's kind of hard to do it upside down like I was doing there. So if you kind of turn it, you can get a better angle on it. In a straighter line. You don't want it to be too solid, so just kind of keep it light at first. You can always add more, but it's hard to take it off. You know, you really can't get it off once it's on. Get some white now and do some white. Raised area my thing there. Okay, let's get some of this yellow now and use it on our mountain. This should be dry enough, hopefully.
Yeah, because usually when I try to hang from the ceiling to paint the top, it's much more difficult than just rotating the painting. So,
what'd you say?
I said when I hang upside down from the ceiling to paint the top of the painting, it's so much more difficult than what you just did. I've obviously been doing it wrong.
Yep. Smart Alec. That there I'm not really happy with right there. Okay, there we go. I'm kind of mixing these yellow and pink together for this area here. Yeah, it's kind of more of a... Okay, I'm gonna do a little bit of white. Really tapping in that white real bright right there. And kind of brushing out the outside edges of it, so there we go. I kind of got a little bit too much right in here, I feel like. So there's not a whole lot I can do about that. I'm going to take a little bit of pink glaze. And kind of glaze over the top right there. You can see sometimes when I touch over an area that's still wet, it'll lift it, so you don't want that to happen. So just try to be a little bit gentle with it. I'm going to go ahead and get some yellow, some straight up yellow, some glaze. I can find a clean spot. Oh, look at that. No, I'm glad I saw that. I almost touched my canvas with that. Would have been bad. Okay. Whew, almost 3 hours with this one. Golly. Glad it's not my bonus weekend. It'd be rough. Bonus videos. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of glaze with this with this brighter yellow. You can see how it's really brightening up that color. Okay. Yeah, I wish I'd left a little bit more. I don't know. I don't think I can get it off there at this point. Okay, going in with a little bit of water here. Just be careful when you do this because you can lift off too much of everything. So that's going okay. It only came off like that because it wasn't fully cured. Just rubbing out those edges. Okay, that's better. A little bit more. I still feel like it's a little bit, I don't know. But if you look at the reference photo, it's pretty distinct. So I do want some pink overlay. So I'm going to glaze the edges back here with some pink. A little bit more pink. Do it one more time. And some of these are coming way out here, so I need to elongate them a little bit. Get some of that yellow. And you can see how that mountain now, that whole edge of that mountain is almost yellow. You can just barely see. And that's how you know you've kind of done it right. You shouldn't cover it completely. It should still be translucent enough to be able to see just a little bit. A little bit brighter yellow in a couple spots here. And then I went over my sun a little bit, so I'm just getting some white here, touching back over my sun. What are you laughing at?
I'm surprised that you went over your sun.
Because I like to do that. Okay, that's getting better. It's just from wanting to... Okay. Okay, getting my white here. Just tap my white back in. There we go. Let me add just a little bit of another layer of bright pink on here and we'll be done. What you thinking on?
So we had a couple of questions.
Yeah.
The first one was back when you made the mistake or something. They said, is that an instance when you could add the darker color back in?
I don't know when we were talking.
I guess with the sunlight maybe?
I could have added the darker color back in, but I'm tempted not to because then it really would affect the rest of the stuff around here. But yeah, if you really kind of did it way too much, then yeah, you could definitely do that. I'm going to mix up a really, really white light.
And then somebody asked about, would you use orange in this instance?
You could use orange, yeah. Yeah.
And then if you don't have a steady hand to do the straight streaks, any suggestions?
Well, definitely turning the canvas helps. So I would definitely do that. And you could always use a ruler. You know, you could set up your ruler with against the canvas, you know, just making sure you're not putting it in that wet paint. But that would be an option. Yeah, I could have used orange there. That probably would have been a good color choice there. All right. There's a whole lot more I could mess with this, but I'm going to call it done. It's late and Mark's got some weird, I don't know what your phone keeps beeping at you, so.
It is our oldest son calling our youngest son.
Interesting.
But since our youngest son has the same Apple account associated to his phone as my iPad, it rings on my iPad too.
I see. Interesting.
We have to have an intervention for our oldest son.
Why?
Because he's going to take his girlfriend to, I won't say the name of the place.
What?
To a pizza place.
Oh, no.
That's no longer open.
It's no longer open.
Yeah. It used to be where that new store opened
Oh,
up.
they moved it.
Well, I know, but it's not open yet.
Oh, is he in town?
Yep.
Really? I didn't know that.
Me either. So, you've come to the end of this.
Yes.
What's your opinion?
I like them. Yeah, I'm happy with it. I really think it was fun having all these different colors to choose from, too. It made it a lot easier. I think I used almost all of them. So, and one, even if it was just a little tiny bit. But, yeah, they worked out pretty good. I'm not happy with this. I feel like, yeah, I mean, I guess I could try glazing back. I always hate doing that, though.
Make sure it's dry.
Yeah, it's dry enough. I don't know. I'm not sure this is going to work. We'll see. Yeah, it's all right. It's working all right. It's kind of turning it green is all. I'm using blue. But yeah, it's softening it up a little bit.
So this is a good paint for people who are jumping into the art realm?
Yeah. This part I might leave out.
No, I mean the
What?
paints.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely. I was pretty happy with them. Probably need to buy some white pretty quick because the white is the same size as everything else. You'll be using that the most. But it's good to have, all these different color choices, especially when you're kind of first starting. You don't like to, don't know how to blend yet. So, now I'm just making it worse. Here we go.
Okay, well, you destroy your painting. We'll do some super chats.
Okay, thank you. That's better.
All right, so today we had a whole bunch of people with us. And
Good.
Thank you for joining us. And we had 2 super chatters out of all the great chatters. The first one was from Madeline. She says, "You are amazing.
Oh,
And it came with like this dancing emoji guy.
nice.
So yeah, I'd never seen that before. That was pretty sweet. And then the second one was from Victoria. And there was no special message, but thank you very much, Victoria.
Thank you. Wow, you guys are sweet.
And Madeline.
Yes, thank you very much.
It's always nice when I can turn on the disco lights.
Yeah, turn it off. I am making a mess.
I was trying to distract everybody from what you're doing with the disco lights, but...
Well, I can't get it to stick right here because it wasn't fully dry like you warned me.
Mm-hmm.
Mark knew. He warned me.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, it's not dry. I was like, it's dry enough.
I mean, did you not see my tutorial?
If you've missed Mark's duck, or his swan, it was pretty awesome. We did a good job. It was fun.
Yeah, so much that you call it a duck.
No, you did a great job. I'm sorry. I was...
Mm-hmm. I know, you're jealous. People vote for right duck, would you?
Vote for what?
Right duck. Or swan, whichever. Right
Okay.
swan.
Right. Oh, I see. We should have had a poll. Which one is your favorite?
Exactly, yeah. Hashtag left swan or hashtag right swan.
I love it. All right, I'm going to continue to battle this off camera, and we'll have a good picture for you. Just do it light, and you should be okay. I just added too much of the...
Oh, they want to see you rip the tape off.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Well, let me... I need to...
It's going to ruin the whole
I
effect.
need more white. It's not.
Who suggested that? Let me see them here. Hold on. Oh, it was Dave. Dave, come on. Really?
Hey, if we can't splatter, we got tapes.
Could rip the tape off, huh?
Yeah. I thought about splattering, but I don't think we need it today. Okay. Man, that was... No, don't glaze it afterwards. Just leave it. And I'm probably going to have to clean that up because I still don't like it. All right, let's see how it went. Now, if it starts to peel off the paint, I'm going to have to... Oh, look at that. It worked. One tip is to angle your tape this way. So don't pull it this way. Angle it away from where that paint is. It didn't come off right there. Let me... Yay, nice and clean. So all I did is just used a little glazing medium. That worked really well. Right. Oh, if I can get it off underneath. It stuck it down real good.
She's trying to do that one. Hope that if you haven't already, you can subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up, and below this video in the description is all the materials used and links and all that fun stuff.
Yes. Yeah, there's a link to the Arteza products. So if you're the ones that I used today, this pad, the watercolor pencils, and the paints, and the pencil bag are all down in the description. And there's links to UK and the US stores. So and use the code Angela Anderson 1 when you check out, and you get 10% off, which is actually pretty darn good.
What?
Yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and that's down in the description also, the reminder for the code. And that is valid between today and March 27th, 2020.
Yes.
So it's not going to be like that forever if you're watching this in, 2022 or something.
Right.
So
The links hopefully will still be active,
Yes.
but the code won't.
Correct. Yep.
So, yeah, I'm just going to get a little bit of yellow. do one last little pass here. Well, I put blue. It's blue up here. I got to get the blue off up here. So.
Everybody's holding their breath.
I know.
And then on, so we do this every Saturday and Tuesdays.
Yes.
And so Saturdays are usually more involved like this kind of video. We try to keep Tuesdays a little bit shorter and a little bit more beginner friendly
yep.
for sure. So hope you check those out.
Yeah, and we've got over, I think, wow, like close to 400, if not 400 or so videos on YouTube now. So we got tons of tutorials that you can choose from. And if those are just not enough, we've also got bonus ones that are available on Patreon. And I'll have the link to this traceable for you. I trace out the design from the finished painting digitally and have it available for patrons for the $2 level and up. So that's also available on patreon.com/AngelaFineArt. If you're interested in that, I am just creating a streaky mess here.
And then on Tuesday night, we'll be painting a book and feather, kind of a still life looking thing.
What?
You're painting a book and feather?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. That'll be fun. Hopefully I can keep it short because I'm not sure. That one looks kind of complicated, but...
it's going to be 2 hours max because...
Right.
Shows.
Because TV, yeah. All right, guys. Not 100% happy with what I did up here, but I think I should have left well enough alone there at the very end when I
like you said,
kept messing with it.
You need to let it sit, let it dry.
Yeah.
Come back and paint over it.
Yeah. There. Okay.
And then so we won't let you just have to sit here and watch paint dry.
Exactly. Yeah. I think it's all right. I think it's but I love the rock. I think the rock's my favorite. Although the sky turned out pretty darn cool too.
Oh,
that
yeah.
neon pink really added a lot to it. Man, it literally makes it pop. So it's beautiful. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching with us today. Like Mark said, you can do all the stuff in the links, like, subscribe, all that stuff. If you paint this, share it with me on my social media. Let me sign this. And we'll be back next Tuesday and Saturday with more videos for you, free. All right. We'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.